Well, hi, this is Jay Arthur, author of Lean Six Sigma Demystified and the QI Macros. In the last few videos, we've talked about different ways to establish rapport, from breathing to physiology to pacing and leading, right, to using visual, auditory, and kinesthetic language. And all of these things will help you. Now, the other thing to do is to start to recognize that we have to learn to speak the language of the people we're speaking to. Now, over the years, I've worked with a lot of healthcare folks, but they've often been trained by people who were manufacturing Six Sigma people, and they tried to use manufacturing examples and things of that nature. And guess what? It just doesn't translate into healthcare. So you have to learn to speak patient safety, patient outcomes. You have to learn to speak about patient falls and adverse events and never events, and their language for defects. Okay, that's their language for defects. The things, the mistakes and errors that go on in healthcare. And, turnaround time in an emergency room, well, we call it wait time, right? So how do you start to learn and listen for the language they're using so that you can build rapport by saying their words back to them? Now, I once saw a consultant, and he said, all I do is I go interview a prospective client, and they give me all their words and their jargon, and then I write a proposal that uses all of their words and their jargon inside the proposal, and then I send it off to them. And he was closing 90+% of his proposals because he spoke their language. So again, the words we use are very important. If they say potato, you better not say potato, right? When we were kids, we all learned to paraphrase and check back. No, don't paraphrase. If they say they're greening something, you better say they're greening something. Not growing something, greening. You're greening it. Okay, so how can I help you green the thing? That's their language, and it'll connect you with them much more quickly. So this is the process. Pretty simple. A few things about learning how to breathe, how to align your personality, and then how to lead people in useful direction, and how to speak visual and auditory and kinesthetic, and use the actual language that people use. And when you do that, you'll get a lot more rapport, and it'll make it a lot easier to get things done. And I can tell you, over the course of those couple of years where I was learning TQM and Six Sigma, and also learning neuro-linguistic programming, my ability to work with teams went from here to there. I mean, it just whoosh, right? Because I could wrangle almost anybody in a room. I rarely run into people I can't wrangle. Every once in a while I do, because there's people that are even more bizarre than I can imagine, and I just haven't built the skill to wrangle them. But I do it with language. And it's not, some people say, well, Jay, that's manipulative. Nonsense. If I'm doing it in service of us both achieving a positive outcome, no, that's alignment. That's motivation, not manipulation. Manipulation is when I try and get you to do something for my benefit, not for your benefit. That's manipulation. So separate those two things out in your mind, but start to learn how to use all of these tools. And each week, try one out. Pick one and just, listen for an auditory. Try and talk to them, or notice somebody's posture and stand like them. I was reading an interview about Morgan Freeman, the actor, and he says he'll be out in the world and he'll see people and they'll do the most amazing things, and even if he's sitting still at a table, he'll do little micro muscle movements to try and get that motion in his body, so later when he's acting, it'll just come out. What a cool idea. One of my friends is a very excellent athlete, and she will watch an excellent athlete do something. She'll do the micro muscle movements of what they're doing to, learn that skiing thing, that skating thing, that golf swing. She's miraculous at that. That's something I wish I had more of, but I'm not a big kinesthetic, right? I live from here up. I'm sorry. Okay, so I'm Jay Arthur. That's my improvement insight for this week. Learn how to build rapport, and out of it will come effortless improvements and achievement. I'm Jay Arthur. See you next week.